Well, hello everybody. I think we're live, and welcome to the Bookshop Band's Lockdown Book Show. This is a first of, well, could just be one or it could be more if it goes well. But we thought we would come to you today from the comfort of our own home into the comfort of your own home, and just play you some book recommendations that we thought might be good for lockdown. And we're really happy today. We spoke to a few bookshops about doing something live with them, and actually we've managed to persuade a few of them to put this out as a live thing altogether. So we're joined by Mr. B's Emporium in Bath. Hi guys. The Open Book.
Just round the corner.
Yeah, which is an Airbnb bookshop. And it's sort of one of the most popular Airbnbs where you can come and run a bookshop, except that very sadly, obviously it's not running at the moment, so all these people that have waited for years to come and do it are sadly not there, but hopefully that'll come back soon.
We're going out to Bookmark in Canada, where we played actually last November, is that right? So hello Bookmark, hello.
And Tattered Cover in America, in Colorado, in Denver, where we played almost a year and a half ago. No, I can't even, I've lost track of time. Anyway, in America, so hi Tattered Cover, hello. The Wickertown Book Festival, who run a book festival here in town. We kind of with them too. We are also broadcasting on the Booksellers Association, which is the body that kind of coordinates and represents all the indie booksellers of the UK and Ireland. So hi guys, and hi to all the bookshops that are joining us. We've also got the Books Are My Bag campaign, supporting indie bookshops. And last but not least,
the bookshop in Wickertown, which is also just around the corner from us.
Keeping it local.
Yeah.
And so we're really happy to be broadcasting for all of those as well today. So but thank you for joining us, and we are going to take you through some of our favourite lockdown reads. So we're going to start off with, ta-da, number one, The Diary of a Bookseller. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. Oh yeah. This is actually written by Mr. Shaun Bythell himself. I don't know if you can see, there's a picture of his bookshop. But obviously lots of bookshops are not trading at the moment, or just doing a few online things. So we wanted, as part of this, to support indie bookshops as well. So we're donating, we have a tip jar down there, and we're donating 20% to the book trade charity, which is supporting indie booksellers. So give into the tip jar, and we'll forward on some for that. But this is a diary of his life as a bookseller, all the interesting people he meets and serves, and the book deals he goes to collect. And it's just like, in a time where we can't go about our daily lives, we can Shaun's very kindly let us read about his daily life, which is hilarious. And we're going to play a song that we wrote inspired by a day in this, which is the 8th of June. I opened the shop at 2 p.m. just as the bookshop band arrived. They set up and started the gig. It's the whole section. It's the first time we actually came to Wigtown, and he describes in a relatively short paragraph, I'm a bit annoyed to say, that whole evening, which went on till 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
It was quite an evening, but actually Shaun fell asleep at midnight, but we carried on drinking and partying through. So we decided that, given the paragraph about that night was so short, we would write another song about our first night in Wigtown. So this song is called The Night We Came to Wigtown, if I can find a ukulele.
You can see we've got a few people in, but I can't quite see who they are from here.
Oh,
so hello.
Sue Capel, Susan Patterson, Stephanie and Caroline. Hi Mum.
Aww.
Oh, right.
Very nice.
There we go. The night we came to Wickertown, Scotland's famous book town, looking for a concert, well how else would we find it? We played in the bookshop and never wanted to stop. Then came down the teas and we sold a bunch of CDs. The night we came to Wickertown, Scotland's famous book town, everybody's in town, Adrian's up from London, bottles started opening, birthdays we were toasting, a good excuse as any to celebrate. The night we came to Wickertown, Scotland's famous book town, candles lit for supper, so we headed up the stairs to Shaun's kitchen table. We were eating, out comes the banjo, an H.A. manhood, red wine it was flowing, drinking till the morning, singing silly songs and dancing in our long johns. Ooh, it feels like home. We don't want to go. The night we came to Wickertown, Scotland's famous book town, while Shaun was snoring, we started exploring, looking through the books, horny Shaun's shelf of porn. He says it's for his punters, but you can't help but wonders, discovering the train sets underneath the carpets, harmonies and cartwheels to beds in the pulpits, stumbling and giggling, sleeping, Shaun is dribbling, everyone was very wasted. It feels like home. We don't want to go. It was a very fun day, but not wise for a Sunday. We slept in for 2 days while Shaun got up on Monday. He opened up the shop and he wrote in his diary some things he forgot, they just slipped out his memory. Then his book got bought, so now he's an author, but our entry is too short, and we think that we ought to explain to everyone what really went on while Shaun was asleep and snoring. The night we came to Wickertown, Scotland's famous book town, one moved to Wickertown so we can expose him. The night we came to Wickertown, Scotland's famous book town, now we've moved to Wickertown so now we can expose him.
Exposed.
Absolutely. So that is our first lockdown recommendation and autobiography of a year in the life of Mr. Shaun Bythell running a bookshop. And as I said before, we're donating 20% of anything you guys put in our tip jar tonight, which is a PayPal link in the description. We'll give 20% of that to a GoFundMe campaign, which is supporting indie booksellers in this time, because obviously a lot of them have had to close their physical doors, but often not their online ones. So there we go.
We're going to do a song now that we wrote a few years ago when the book of Dust came out. The first of a trilogy by Philip Pullman, and the first book is called La Belle Sauvage, and we were lucky enough to be asked to play for the launch of the book, and this was in the Bodleian Library in Oxford. Such a beautiful venue and a lovely place to play, but terrifying in front of Philip Pullman and a load of cameras and an audience of specially selected people, you know. So, but it was a really great book to read, and I think particularly for us at the time, Molly, who is currently asleep and will hopefully stay so for the rest of the gig, she was 6 months old when we were reading this, and Lyra, the main character in the book, although she's just a baby in this story as opposed to in Philip Pullman's earlier books where she's a little girl, a bigger little girl, and it felt like Lyra was the same age as Molly, and so it felt quite, there were similarities between them, I guess. So it was really lovely to read that aspect of it as we were reading. But the main character really is this little boy called Malcolm, who has a boat called La Belle Sauvage, and he lives in a pub on the Thames with his parents, and he goes to school, but he also works in a pub sometimes, and he listens in to the conversations that are going on in the pub, so he's able to kind of pick up on what's going on and he has this little boat out the back of the pub on the Thames called La Belle Sauvage, and he's able to go up and down the river. But when these waters start rising later in the book, he's able to take in a couple of other passengers into the boat. And so the song that we've got is called Room for Three, and it's definitely also inspired by being new parents. Molly's going to be 3 next month.
What
Crazy!
A massive party. Should we invite everyone?
Never know. 20th of May. We can dream. So this is called Room for Three. Hopefully we didn't wake her up.
No, that's probably as loud as we're going to get, maybe pulling it back slightly. So that, can you hold it up again actually, Beth? So that, if you've just joined us, these are some book recommendations we're giving for a lockdown reading. And we recommend you go online, find your local indie bookseller and just get in touch and see if they're still delivering. But that book there was The Book of Dust, La Belle Sauvage by Philip Pullman. And the first one we played, if you missed that, was The Diary of a Bookseller. And we're going to do a few more for you now. I should say as well, in our tip jar, in the link in the description, we're donating to the Book Trade charity, which is supporting indie booksellers in crisis. And then also we are donating another 20% to help musicians who have set up a fantastic funding network for musicians who are in hardship trouble at the moment, because obviously pretty much everyone's lost all of their gigs, so which for some people is pretty tough right now. So we'll be donating 20% from anything raised tonight to the Help Musicians campaign as well. All right. What's on it? Okay, yeah. So we had an autobiography about doing work, which we can't do. We had a sort of everything's going to be all right in the face of disaster recommendation book. And then we thought this one might be a good one. The book is called Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight by Alexandra Fuller. And it's another autobiography about her experience of growing up in various countries in Central and Southern Africa in the 80s. And it's such an evocative kind of book for transporting you to another place. Quite a tough place. It kind of makes you glad you're indoors, to be honest. So maybe that's why we're recommending this. But it's an amazing period of her life. Living on various farms and with civil war conflicts happening everywhere. You kind of imagine what it must be like to be a child in that kind of environment. But the song we're going to do is inspired by a moment in the book. She's about 8 years old, and her mother says to her that they're going to go out and try and find the cattle that have gone astray during this particular Civil War conflict, and they get out on horseback and they can't find them anywhere, and eventually Bobo turns to her mum and says, I want to go home, I'm getting tired and thirsty, and her mum says, no, we're going to find these cattle, and she just leaves her daughter. She rides off and leaves Bobo all alone in the middle of the bush, tired and thirsty. She doesn't know how to get home. She can hear all these sort of wild animals encroaching around her. She doesn't know if her mum's going to come back. It's a dangerous place to be, and pretty hair-raising moment in her life. Anyway, so we wrote a song inspired by that, and I kind of wanted to write it like a campfire song. So again, something that we can't all do, sit around a virtual campfire together and sing a song.
But we can drink whiskey.
Oh, we can.
We've got some Bladnoch whiskey here. Just down the road from us is a distillery. Not open for business right now, but they do a very good whiskey.
I reckon their whiskey's aging just fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks so much for joining us, Mr. Bees.
Who else?
Yeah. Nick Bottomley. Hi, Dan. Hi, Nick. Oh, sort of getting straight in conversation there. Demelza.
Hi, Demelza.
Tim Porter.
Hi, Dad.
Susan Patterson. It's people from all around the world. It's really exciting.
So nice. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, this is really lovely. So I hope you're enjoying this. This is called Bobo and the Cattle. Don't let's go to the dogs tonight, though the chances are high and there's signs that we might. Don't let's go to the dogs tonight, there's work to be done and two makes it light. We take the horses and ride on the sand, the cattle are lost and they must let's go to the docks tonight. We've got whiskey here in the starlight. Don't let's go to the docks tonight. We've got whiskey here in the starlight. Got whiskey here in the starlight. Got whiskey here in the starlight. Thank you very much. So that was our third lockdown book recommendation, and it's Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight by Alexandra Fuller. And yeah, it's just a wonderfully evocative, puts you in this place that you've probably never been to and makes you wish you were at home, which you are. So good read for lockdown, I think. So remember, we have a tip jar, and we're giving 20% to the book trade charity and 20% to help musicians tonight. So do investigate that. And if you're interested in any of the books that we're singing about, just contact your local indie bookshop and see if they're delivering. And I know that the bookshops that we're playing with tonight, so Mr. B's, Bookmark, Tattered Cover, anyway, all of those three are definitely delivering online. So you can contact them if you can't get hold of your local indie.
Good to know. Good to know. So the next song we're going to do is inspired by a great book, another great book, by a good friend of ours called Emma Hooper, and it's called Etta and Otto and Russell and James, and it's about an old woman who decides that she wants to see the sea, having never seen the sea before. And she lives in a landlocked part of Canada, and she decides that before she forgets that that's what she wants to do, she wants to set off on foot and see if she can find the sea. And she leaves her husband Otto behind, and he kind of lets her go, as this is what she wants to do. And the story goes back to when Etta and Otto were younger, and it's set just before the Second World War, this part, and Otto is called up to war along with his brothers and many of the people on the farms near them. And Etta stays at home to, she works at the local school and does her bit there. And they start writing letters to each other. They've only really just got to know each other, but they start writing these letters to each other. And Otto writes home about his adventures and the experiences of the war, and he spends quite a lot of time in and around the sea. And Etta writes back and corrects him on his grammar, and their relationship starts to develop through these letters. And I knew when Emma was writing the book that she had come across a book called The Edges of Everywhere, which is a beautiful poetry book put together by a creative writer who went into the Peggy Dodd Centre, which is an Alzheimer's Day centre in Bath. And the creative writer got the patients to talk about their memories, but eventually to make them into poetry and to kind of create these memories in poetic form. And some of the carers also wrote poetry too. So it's a really beautiful book, and an insight into the minds of those people. So the song that we've got is called Edge of the World, and it's inspired a bit by both of those books. And we're lucky enough to live, we can see the water from our window, which we're really, really, really pleased about. And it's easy for us to walk down to the water. But I know for lots of people, there's no chance of that. So this is for you guys.
This lady, this crazy lady, she's alright. She's alright. This woman, she chose to make this journey to the light. To the light, the light that glitters get up and we do what we can. What we can. And if it's walking, I can walk, I can walk, I can walk. If that's the plan, I can walk to the edge of the world. I can walk in this world. And if you can't find your story, it's alright. It's alright. You'll find something. You'll find something or someone to hold on to. To hold on to. The water is pulling me through. The water I'm holding on to. And I've never been to the sea. The waves, they are waiting for me to come home. You get used to leaving your mind, leaving your mind. You forget what you're leaving behind, leaving behind. Now I remember my life. Now and then I remember my life. The colors, they're fading away, fading away. My sisters, my brothers, they're with me today, with me today. And I fought for this land. And I taught in this land. And I walk in this land. And I've never been to the sea. The waves, they are waiting for me to come home.
If you haven't read any of Emma's books before, you really should. She's also written a book called Our Homesick Songs, which we read last year, and it's so beautiful. So please go out and read, and also listen to her music. She has many music projects. Waitress for the Bees is one of them, and Red Carousel string quartet project, which actually, I mean that we would have been recording a new album right now with Emma. So we would have been together. So it's nice to play that song because we would have been in the same space if we weren't all stuck at home.
And actually, I asked some of the bookshops which were their which were their lockdown book recommendations, and Mr. B said Rachel Joyce's The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Howard Fry, which is again it's a book about somebody just leaving their house and going for an amazing journey. Again, something you can't do, so you can read about it in a great book.
But a lot of us can go for walks, which is really nice, and you can imagine those journeys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a special announcement now. We went to America this time, just over a year ago for our first tour, and we played in bookshops in New York, New Jersey, Colorado, and New Mexico. We did this quite cool tour that we didn't think would happen but did, which was amazing. And we actually recorded an album which we're going to release a month today. That's what we've just decided. We were going to release it with a tour of America, but that's obviously not going to happen. So we'll find another way of releasing it. But here's a sneak preview. This is the vinyl that's just come in. And so when this live feed finishes, I'm going to start a pre-order on our Bandcamp page. So I'll try and put a link onto there, or just look us up. But basically, we're going to find a way of releasing it. I mean, releasing it could just mean posting it out, couldn't it? But anyway, we're really excited to have it in our hands, and I thought I'd let you know about that.
And shall we see who else we've got coming in?
Yeah.
So it's nice to know who's there. It's
Weird
weird playing without an audience.
Yeah, Shelley Quinton Hume in Manchester, Jackie Hudson, Jane Harris. Hi Jane. Suzanne Patterson, Flora Park, New York, USA here. Deborah Goddard, Rosetto. A couple of others in Manchester. Carrie Penty Mason. So it's amazing, isn't it? Connecting with people around the world.
It's so nice.
Be able to read all the comments later. If you've missed what we've been doing, we've been recommending a series of books for lockdown reading, and they have been, to recap, The Diary of a Bookseller by Shaun Bythell. Then we had Philip Pullman's The Book of Dust down there, sort of in the face of adversity. Then we had Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight, transporting you to Central Africa in the 80s, by Alexandra Fuller. And then Emma Hooper's Etta and Otto and Russell and James there. We've got one more for you, but before we play that, just a big thank you to everyone who's helped get this book podcast out. Podcast, live video, whatever it is, who knows what it is, out there. And I've got a question for you, which is, should we do this every week? We could come to you with some 5 more book recommendations for lockdown reading each week, if you fancy it. Let us know, and we will, or tell us not to, and we won't. And also recommend your own. What's your lockdown reading? What book have you chosen to read in this time? It's so. Whenever we do a concert, we have a guest book, and we ask people to put their book recommendations in, their favourite book that they think might inspire a song. So it'd be quite interesting to see what people's.
Can I say what I'm reading?
What are you reading?
I'm reading 2 books at the moment. One of them is for a Wickertown book group that I haven't actually read any of the books yet, but I'm really trying with this one. And I really wanted to read it because we have a song about first lines of books, and it's one of the first lines that we sing about. And the first line is, what's the first line? The day.
The day my
grandmother exploded. So it's
the
crow. It was the day. Yeah. I can't do it without singing it. That's the thing. I'd have to go through the whole song and then sing it. And it's The Crow Road by Ian Banks. So that's really good. I haven't got that far yet, but I'm really enjoying it. And the other book that I'm reading, it's the woman who came to Wickertown Book Festival last year. She's called Kathleen Jamie. And her book is called Surfacing. She's got some other books as well, but it's just a really beautiful book about, I suppose, discovery and kind of archaeological digs in various parts of the world, Orkney and somewhere kind of North Canada, Arctic kind of region, and other places, just kind of discovering what's under the earth, but also relating it to her own journey in life as well. So anyway, I highly recommend that. She's a brilliant kind of poet, prose person who is very good with words, unlike me.
Oh, you're good with words, Muffins. But thank you so much. Okay, we're going to do our last recommendation of this session. And yeah, do let us know if you'd like us to do the same again next week. We'll maybe try and get some new bookshops to get involved. And yeah, we have a tip jar, and we're donating 20% to help musicians and 20% to the book trade charity. So do find that, and obviously our merch shop is open too.
And the reason why we will sing a song in a minute. The reason why I'm sitting on this armchair is because when we played at Mr. B's Emporium of Reading Delights, we used to sit on the armchairs in the upstairs of the bookshop, and so we thought that would be very kind of, bookshoppy. And also I think Shaun has a couple of great armchairs that we thought it's not great for playing cello on, but it's it's nice and comfy.
It also makes me look really tall, which is great.
And me look really small, which isn't hard to do. Anyway, we're going to finish with a sing along, so we want to make sure you're all singing along at home. We did a gig last week or the week before. We asked if people would sing along at home and send their videos, and nobody did, surprisingly. But if you want to do that, send us your video of you singing along to our song inspired by Burton and Swinburne in The Strange Affair of Spring-Heeled Jack by Mark Hodder. I can show you a slightly bigger version of that. And it's a steampunk novel. It's about Sir Richard Burton and Swinburne, the poet, and they have been chosen by the king to try and sort out what's going on in this weird underground London. And basically it's set in what would be Victorian London, apart from Queen Victoria has accidentally been shot by a time-travelling spring-heeled Jack. So everything is slightly weird and slightly warped. And there are lots of inventions that crop up throughout the book. Each chapter has a different invention in it. And one of these things, there's these messenger parakeets that occur, and they take your messages for you wherever you want them to go to. And they relay these messages perfectly, word for word, but they can't help swearing and insulting those people when they get there. So you're never quite sure who your friends are. There are these velocipedes that take off in the air, and they look down on London. We imagine, the police force use them, and we imagine they look down on London to see if they can spot Spring-Heeled Jack. But we imagine they can't see very much because there's so much smog covering London at this time. Anyway, it's worth a read. Apart from my ramblings, it's very good. But we'll teach you the chorus of the song, and then you can join in and send us your videos.
I just like to picture everyone swaying at home.
Be like a very gentle Joe Wicks workout video. We tried to get Molly doing that the other day and she fell asleep. Okay, here's the chorus.
Smog over London looks jolly splendid, I've heard. Smog over London looks jolly splendid, I've heard.
Pretty good, actually.
Pretty good. Yeah. I don't want to sway too much because I've got a really creaky seat. So that, the words are smog over London, looks jolly splendid, I've heard. Okay.
Sail over Battersea in your velocipede, show off your skills in the air. Don't let technologies catch you and soar off bits. What are they building in there? It's such a joy to be in my velocipede, flying as high as a bird. Smog over London looks jolly splendid, I've heard. Smog over London looks jolly splendid, I've heard. London ain't meant to be the way it turned out to be. I didn't say the Queen, oh. Talking dogs on the street, bloody parakeets, exploding wolves, don't you know? And who'd have thought Nightingale would side with all those whales, making a hash of us all? Smog over London looks jolly splendid, I've heard. Smog over London looks jolly splendid, I've heard. One more time. Smog over London looks jolly splendid, I've heard.
Well done, everybody.
Oh, I hope you're all right in your homes, and I hope you're staying safe, and don't go too far afield this weekend. We'll beat this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But well done to, I'm hoping Erica and Darren might be listening. My cousin who's a nurse, and yeah, that's for you. You're just doing a great job, as are lots of those people out there. Thank you.
So to recap our 5 lockdown book recommendations, we have The Diary of a Bookseller,
La Belle Sauvage from The Book of Dust by Philip Pullman.
Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight by Alexandra Fuller,
Etta and Otto and Russell and James by Emma Hooper.
and Pure Escapism, The Strange Affair of Spring-Heeled Jack by Mark Hodder. It's been a total pleasure to be here. Thank you very, very much to Mr. B's Emporium of Reading Delights in Bath, the Open Book in Wigtown, Bookmark in Canada, both in Halifax and Charlottetown, Tattered Cover in Denver, Colorado, the Wigtown Book Festival, which is where we are playing from, the Booksellers Association of the UK and Ireland, Books in My Bag, and to Shaun Bythell's Bookshop, which is just around the corner. Thank you for hosting us. I think, all being well, we will join you same time, same place next week. But for us to say good night.
Good night.
See you, everybody. Thank you.
We're going to have some whiskey now.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
And don't forget to find this. We'll be releasing this in the month. We've no idea how we're going to release it. Any ideas, let us know. But yeah. Right, whiskey.
Thank you so much.
This is Bladnock 22-year-old whiskey. There's not much left, though.
There's enough.
Oh. Okay. I didn't bring the glasses.
I've got. I could finish my water.
Okay.
Thank you.
Don't share bottles, everyone, unless you're in the same family.
It's alright. It's whiskey. It's gonna.
True. Hand sanitizer. Excellent. Okay. See you, everyone.
Bye.